All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And today we're diving into something I think a lot of people think about, but might not know the depth of.
Right.
It's brand names.
I think so. Amazon immediately, like even if you didn't know what it was when you first heard it, you got this sense of like vastness.
Right.
Like a huge
Like
selection.
variety.
Yeah.
Like you can find anything there.
It's like the Amazon rainforest, which is known for its just massive scale and diversity of life.
Wow. I never even thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's really clever branding.
That's so smart.
And you contrast that with something like Flickr,
Okay.
which, they're a successful company, but that name doesn't really tell you anything about what they do.
So it seems like it doesn't have to be literal.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Flickr proves that it can work,
Right.
but I think a more descriptive name could help
Okay.
to speed up that brand recognition.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So to help us think through creating sticky names, she has this acronym, SMILE.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So let's go through each of the letters here.
Okay.
So S stands for suggestive. So it should subtly allude to like what the brand's about?
Yeah, like Amazon suggests vastness.
Right, exactly.
So your name should kind of hint at the essence of your brand.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
What about M?
M is for meaningful.
Yeah.
So the name should resonate with your target audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also avoid just like naming it after yourself.
Right, like Bob's Burgers or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like it needs to connect with your audience's needs and desires, not just your ego.
Right. I gotcha.
Okay, so that's M.
What's I?
I is for imaginary.
Ooh.
So the name should paint a vivid picture in people's minds,
Okay.
spark their curiosity and imagination.
So it's not just about the information. It's almost like an experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's about creating an experience through the name.
Like that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so what about L?
L is for legs.
Okay.
A good name should have room for wordplay humor and creative extensions.
Okay.
So think of like Ben and Jerry's,
Oh, yeah.
with their quirky ice cream flavors.
Yeah, their names are always so fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it just adds to the whole brand experience.
Right. And E.
E is for emotional.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we make decisions based on our emotions.
Right.
So a great name evokes a feeling.
Yeah. Think about Apple or Google.
Yeah.
Like they just have this like,
They feel innovative.
yeah, like innovative and like
Yeah.
cutting edge or something.
Yeah, like there's a sense of excitement and possibility. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And it's interesting because, Watkins isn't just making this stuff up.
Right.
She's drawing on like cognitive psychology.
Oh, wow.
You know how our brains process information, form memories, make associations?
Yeah.
So like, for example, the imaginary aspect that taps into our brain's preference for visuals.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay.
All right. So going back to Apple for a second, like
Okay.
it's not an obvious connection to technology.
Right.
Is there something else going on there, do you think?
I think maybe it's the simplicity of it, Like an apple is something that's familiar and approachable.
Right.
And maybe that makes technology feel less intimidating,
Okay.
Like it's as easy as biting into an apple.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, it's that kind of unexpected juxtaposition that makes it memorable.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know what makes a good name.
Right.
What about what not to do?
Right. Well, Watkins calls those the 7 deadly sins of naming.
Okay, dramatic.
I know it's a little dramatic.
Yeah.
But it gets your attention.
It does.
And these mistakes can really kill a brand.
Okay. All right. I'm scared now. Let's go through them.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So sin number 1 is spelling challenged.
Okay.
Like Hogandas. I mean,
Oh my God.
I don't even know how to say that.
Yeah, it's a pronunciation nightmare.
And she says, you need to think about how a name sounds out our LE guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, because if it's difficult to pronounce, people just won't use it.
And that hurts word of mouth marketing.
Totally.
Oh.
And like, I wouldn't want to be constantly correcting people
Yeah,
on how to say the name of my business.
right.
That's a nightmare.
Exactly. And it can also hurt your searchability online,
Oh, right.
If people don't know how to spell it, they can't find you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, what's sin number 2?
Copycat.
Okay.
Anything that sounds like an I something is just a huge turnoff.
Yeah, it's like a knockoff.
Exactly.
It's not the real deal.
It lacks authenticity and originality.
And it makes you look like you lack creativity.
Totally.
Like you couldn't come up with something yourself. Ouch.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Okay, sin number 3, restrictive.
Okay.
Like Canadian Tire.
Oh, yeah.
They sell way more than tires now, but that name just boxes them in.
Yeah, it really limits their potential.
Right.
Gotta think long term, you know?
Yeah.
What's your vision for your brand? Because a restrictive name can really hold you back.
Totally.
It's like planting a tree in a tiny pot.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
You know the roots can't spread.
Right.
It can't reach its full potential.
It's stuck.
Exactly.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
There was this bakery I used to go to called Muffin Mania.
Oh my gosh.
Delicious muffins, but like, what if they wanted to sell cookies?
Yeah, they're trapped.
They're trapped.
Yeah, it's a common mistake, you know?
Yeah.
Especially for startups, they're so focused on their initial product
Right.
that they don't think about how their name might limit them later on.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, sin number 4 is annoying,
Okay.
which I feel like is kind of subjective.
Yeah, it is.
But like, are there any suffixes that just make you cringe?
Oh my gosh, yeah, opreneur.
Oh, I hate that one.
There's like, everyone's a fopreneur now.
Right, it's meaningless.
It's lost all meaning.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying too hard to be trendy,
Right.
but it just comes across as forced, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Sin number 5, tame.
Right.
So like cloud solution, innovation, all those just get lost in the noise.
Yeah, they're so generic.
They're just boring.
They're boring. They don't stand out.
Yeah, it's like wearing a plain white t-shirt to a party.
Exactly. You need something that catches the eye.
Right.
Something that makes people want to learn more.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Sin number 6, curse of knowledge.
Mhm.
What is that?
So this is when a name relies on like insider jargon
Okay.
that means nothing to the average person.
Mm-hmm.
Like Watkins gives the example of Schrader valve for bike pumps.
Oh.
I mean, unless you're a cycling enthusiast,
Yeah.
that name means nothing to you.
Right, it's like you're speaking a different language.
Exactly.
And speaking of different languages,
Oh.
sin number 7, hard to pronounce,
Oh, yeah.
like Thrafix or Zobni.
Oh. Oh, I see what you mean.
I mean, come on.
It's like a tongue twister.
Right.
And they're not memorable because people can't even say them.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so we've covered the 7 deadly sins.
We did it.
I'm a little overwhelmed.
I know it's a lot to think about.
Like, it seems like there's a lot that can go wrong.
There are definitely things to be mindful of.
Yeah.
But the good news is that naming is a strategic process.
Okay.
It's not just random,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
So by understanding these pitfalls and being deliberate in our choices, we can increase our chances of creating a great name.
Okay, so there's hope.
There's definitely hope.
Good.
Okay, so now that we know what to avoid,
Yeah?
how do we actually come up with these names?
Right. So Watkins challenges the traditional idea of group brainstorming.
Okay.
Yeah, she thinks it can actually stifle creativity.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I've definitely been in those brainstorming sessions where, like,
Yeah.
it feels like everyone's just agreeing,
Uh-huh.
but nobody's really saying what they think.
Yeah. And you get that pressure to come up with ideas on the spot.
Which can lead to, like, rushed decisions
Yeah.
and not the most creative outcomes.
Okay, so what does she suggest instead?
Individual ideation,
Okay.
followed by targeted feedback. So she recommends starting with a creative brief.
Ooh, a creative brief.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like a roadmap,
Okay.
outlines your brand's personality,
Okay.
target audience,
Mm-hmm.
key messages,
Oh.
even words to avoid.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like a blueprint for the brainstorming session.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everyone's on the same page.
And it stops you from going down like rabbit holes that are irrelevant.
It keeps you focused.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our creative brief.
Okay. What's next?
Independent research. So Watkins encourages exploring unusual sources for inspiration,
Okay. Like what?
like movie titles,
Oh, okay.
song lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
imagery that evokes the feeling you want your brand to convey.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's about thinking outside the box.
I like it. You know,
Mm.
and tapping into that like right brain thinking,
Yeah,
that often gets lost in a group setting.
totally. Okay, so I've done my brainstorming. I've consulted my creative brief.
Okay.
Got a few potential names I'm excited about.
Right.
Now what?
Feedback loop.
Okay.
But Watkins cautions against just asking anyone and everyone.
Right.
It needs to be targeted feedback
Okay.
from people who understand your target audience
Mhm.
and can provide like constructive criticism
Right.
based on the creative brief.
So it's quality over quantity.
Exactly. You want feedback that will actually help you
Right.
refine your ideas.
Makes them stronger.
Yeah. And
Nice.
by grounding the feedback in the creative brief, you keep the conversation focused.
Right. It's all connected.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So you've landed on a name you love.
Yeah.
It's sticky, it's original, it aligns with your brand,
Mhm.
and it's passed the feedback test.
Feel good.
Uh-oh.
We're not done yet.
What else is there? Domain names.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
This is important.
It's crucial.
I actually know a company
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
came up with this awesome name,
Mm-hmm.
but someone already had the .com domain.
Oh.
Yeah, and they ended up having to settle for something else.
Yeah. That's tough.
And it's been a struggle ever since.
It's a common mistake.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses just don't realize how important this is,
Right.
until it's too late.
And Watkins uses Facebook as an example.
Right.
Remember the Facebook.com?
Oh, yeah. I'd almost forgotten about that.
Yeah, it cost them a fortune to get Facebook.com.
It did.
So it just shows you, even a giant company like that
Yeah.
has to deal with this.
Yeah.
So what if your ideal domain name is taken?
Well, there are a few options.
Okay.
First, you can focus on SEO optimization.
Okay.
So even if you don't have the exact match domain,
Mm-hmm.
you can still rank high in search results.
All right.
You
Okay.
can also try adding a relevant word to your domain.
Okay.
So like Dropbox started with getdropbox.com before they were able to get just dropbox.com.
So that's smart.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
You can consider alternative extensions like .net or .biz.
Oh, right.
They might not be as popular as .com,
Yeah.
but they can still work,
Okay.
especially if your brand name is unique.
Right.
And, you could always try making a low ball offer.
Oh, yeah.
You never know.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
All right. Any other tips for navigating this domain name minefield?
Oh, yeah. Redirect common misspellings.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so like Flickr owns Flickr.com.
Oh, with an ear.
Yeah, exactly. So if
Mhm.
someone makes a typo,
Right.
they still end up on the right site.
That's so smart.
It's all about those little details.
Yes. Okay, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Okay.
I want to talk about some cautionary tales.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Watkins mentions some companies that got creative with country codes, like .lily for Libya.
Yeah,
But she warns that this can backfire.
right. Like Libya actually shut down .lita domains.
What? Yeah, if they violated Sharia law.
Oh, wow.
So it's important to understand the implications, right?
Like the legal and cultural implications
Yeah.
of using those country codes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
What else you got?
Well, unintentional double meanings,
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
like a company called Penn Island,
Oh, no.
would probably want to avoid the lowercase domain petusland.com.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
You got to be careful.
you really do.
Strategic capitalization is your friend.
Yeah.
You have to think about how different audiences might interpret your name.
It reminds me of this company that named their product Power Gin,
Okay.
but it sounded a lot like a slang term in another language,
Oh, no.
and they had to rebrand.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's why research is so important.
Yeah.
Cultural sensitivity.
What might seem harmless in one culture
Yeah,
could be a disaster in another.
exactly. Context is everything.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for part 1 of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground,
We have,
but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
there's definitely more to come.
Yeah, but I think we've laid a solid foundation
I think so too.
for understanding what makes a great brand name.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be back in part 2 to delve even deeper into Watkins strategies.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
All right. Welcome back to the deep dive.
I'm glad to be back.
Me too.
Still reeling from those domain name horror stories,
Yeah, those were rough.
but also thinking about that idea that a name doesn't have to be literal to be effective.
Right. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
We tend to think it needs to describe exactly what the company does.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the most iconic brands have names that are kind of more suggestive or abstract.
Yeah, like Apple, again.
Right.
Like, I don't get how an apple relates to technology, really.
Yeah, but it's intriguing.
Yeah,
Makes you think,
it does.
why is it called Apple?
Yeah, and then once you make that connection, it's even more,
Memorable.
exactly, it sticks with you.
Okay, so maybe literal isn't always necessary.
But what about the sound of a name?
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Does that play a role?
Absolutely. Watkins talks about sound symbolism.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that.
It's fascinating.
What?
So it's the idea that certain sounds evoke specific emotions or associations.
Interesting.
Like, for example, think about the sounds K and L.
Okay.
K sounds are often seen as harsh,
Okay.
abrupt,
Mhm.
masculine,
Okay.
while L sounds are softer.
Hmm.
smoother,
Okay.
more feminine.
Oh, wow. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Like crackle versus lull.
Exactly.
You have totally different vibes.
Right, and marketers can use this to their advantage.
How so?
Well, if you're targeting a young, energetic demographic,
Yeah.
you might choose a name with strong K or P sounds.
Okay.
But if you want something more sophisticated, elegant,
Mm-hmm.
you might go for L or S sounds.
I see. It's like these little details we don't even realize are affecting us.
Right, it's subconscious.
Wow, it's like a secret code.
It is kind of like a code.
That's so cool. I'm going to be thinking about this all the time now.
I know, me too.
Okay, so we've talked about literalness and sound symbolism. What other factors should we consider when brainstorming names?
Well, Watkins emphasizes thinking beyond just dictionary words.
Oh, okay. So like made-up words.
Yeah, or word combinations.
Okay.
You know, be playful with language,
Mhm.
experiment with different sounds and structures,
I like that.
create something unique.
So it's like pushing the boundaries.
Exactly.
Creating something totally new.
And this is where the imaginary part of Smile comes in.
Right.
A great name should paint a picture.
Right, like a little world you want to enter.
Exactly. And sometimes the most memorable names are the ones that don't exist in any dictionary. They're fresh,
Yeah.
intriguing, they make you use your imagination.
Are there any examples of brands that have done this well?
Oh yeah, tons.
Wait, what?
Think about Kodak or Exxon.
Oh, yeah.
Completely made up words.
Wow.
But now they're just part of our vocabulary. It's true.
It's the power of a good name.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But is there a risk of going too far?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, could a name be so abstract it loses all meaning?
It's a balance.
Yeah.
You want something unique and evocative, but it should still hint at the brand's essence or values.
Okay, so it's not just being random.
Right.
It's like strategic creativity.
Exactly.
I'm feeling like a linguistic detective.
I know, right?
Uncovering all these secrets about names.
It's fascinating stuff.
Okay, so we've explored literalness, sound symbolism, even made up words.
Yeah.
Any other brainstorming techniques Watkins recommends?
She encourages exploring a wide range of sources for inspiration.
Okay, like what?
Like going beyond traditional brainstorming. Think movie titles,
Okay.
song lyrics, mythology,
Ooh, yeah.
even scientific terms.
Wow, that's pretty diverse.
Right.
Yeah, it's like cross-pollinating ideas from different fields.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've done all that.
I've brainstormed independently. I've got my creative brief. I've looked at all these different sources. I've even thought about sound symbolism.
All right.
Now I've got a short list of names.
Okay.
What's the next step?
Feedback loop.
Right.
Remember targeted feedback.
Yeah, not just asking anyone.
Right, people who understand your target audience and can give you good constructive criticism.
Right.
And this is where the creative brief is so helpful
Yeah.
because it keeps everyone on track.
Right.
You're all evaluating the names based on the same criteria.
So it's not just about personal preference.
Exactly.
It's strategic.
It is.
This whole process is so well thought out.
It is.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Watkins has really broken down something complex into clear steps.
Right.
And it shows that having structure can actually boost creativity.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it gives you a framework to work within.
I'm so glad we did this deep dive.
Me too.
I'm learning so much.
It's fascinating stuff.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
Well, now that we've covered brainstorming, we need to talk about the legal and practical aspects of naming.
Ooh, okay. That sounds a little scary.
There are definitely things to be aware of,
I bet.
but Watkins gives us some good advice to help us navigate it all.
Okay, I'm ready for it. All right, so we've got this amazing list of names.
We
You're
do.
feeling super creative. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, the legal stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Trademarks.
Yeah.
I know those are important, but the whole process seems kind of intimidating.
Yeah, it can be.
Where do we even start?
Well, first and foremost, a thorough trademark search.
Right.
And I don't mean just a quick Google search.
Right.
We're talking professional databases, legal resources, making absolutely sure your chosen name isn't already taken.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Right, or get sued.
Exactly. Are there any tools or resources that Watkins recommends for this?
She mentions the USPTO website,
Okay.
the United States Patent and Trademark Office.
Mhm.
They have a free database.
Oh, that's cool.
But it can be a bit much for someone without legal expertise.
Okay.
So she recommends at least a consultation with a trademark attorney,
Yeah, that makes sense.
just to be safe.
Right, peace of mind.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say our search comes back clean.
Okay.
Are we good to go?
not quite.
What else?
Even if a name isn't officially trademarked,
Yeah.
you could still run into trouble if it's too similar to an existing brand.
Oh, right. I've heard about those cases where companies fight over names that sound or look alike,
Exactly.
even if they're in totally different industries.
It's all about avoiding consumer confusion.
Right.
You don't want people thinking your brand is something it's not.
So it's not just about being legally in the clear.
Right.
It's also about being strategic,
Absolutely.
thinking about how your name will be perceived by actual customers.
You have to put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah,
If you saw this name, would you confuse it with another brand?
that's a good point.
If the answer is yes, it's back to brainstorming.
Okay, so we've avoided trademark issues
Yeah.
and consumer confusion.
Okay.
Anything else legally we need to think about?
Watkins points out that some words are just off limits,
Like what?
like federal or national,
Oh, okay.
unless you have government authorization.
That makes sense.
You can't mislead people into thinking you're affiliated with the government.
Right, right.
So again, an attorney can be really helpful here.
Yeah, to make sure you're not accidentally breaking any rules.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've tackled the legal stuff.
We have.
What about the practical side of things?
Okay, well, testing your name with real people is crucial.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
It's so important to get feedback.
Right. Get out of your own head.
Exactly.
See how it lands with your target audience.
And don't just ask if they like it.
Okay.
Ask them what they think the brand is about based on the name alone.
Okay.
What imagery or emotions come to mind?
Oh, that's good.
Really dig deep.
It's like market research, but for your name.
Exactly.
Okay, any other practical considerations?
Think about how your name will work across different platforms.
Oh, right.
Print, online, social media,
Yeah.
maybe even merchandise.
So it needs to be versatile,
It does.
visually appealing, easy to read.
Think about the logo, too.
Yeah, the logo.
How will the name translate visually? It's
Right.
all connected.
It really is.
So, yeah, choosing a name is not a one-time thing.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
I need to keep evaluating and refining.
Absolutely.
Like building a house.
I like that.
You need a strong foundation,
You do.
and that's your name.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been such a good deep dive.
I agree.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of brand names.
Me too. It's
Yeah.
amazing how much goes into it.
Right, like the language, the psychology, the strategy.
It's a lot more than just picking a word you like.
Right, and we've learned so much from Watkins.
She's great.
We've talked about sticky names, trademarks, testing,
Getting
feedback.
symbolism.
so much good stuff.
I hope our listeners feel ready to tackle their own naming challenges,
I think so too.
whether it's a business, a product, or even just a personal project.
I'm curious, what name or phrase do you wish was stickier?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, like something you're working on or a cause you're passionate about.
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, me too.
It's a good challenge for everyone listening.
Definitely. And for those who want to learn even more,
Yeah.
I highly recommend checking out Watkins' book.
Hello, my name is Awesome.
It's full of even more insights and advice.
A great resource.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into brand naming.
It's been fun.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Until next time, happy naming, everyone.